Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Roseanne Cohen, and welcome to today's Government Workplace Modernization Workshop. I'm the Industry Solutions Marketing Manager for Public Sector at Logitech, and I'm going to be your host today. Now, I just want to begin by saying this is not just a regular presentation, a regular webinar. This is a workshop. And so we're here to do some real work together. We want this to be interactive. And we want you to take some opportunity to decide on some technologies, explore the insights that we're sharing with you, to maybe take some notes, identify different use cases and users and environments that might help you to modernize your workspaces. So before we go ahead and jump into the tour and the updates, let me introduce you to the experts that you're going to be hearing from. Craig Ishii is the head of product marketing and software services at Logitech. He's become famous on YouTube. You may have seen some of the incredible product demonstrations that he's done. Alex Mooney is our resident Microsoft expert. He works very closely with Microsoft. He's going to bring some insights, some current updates to keep you confident and up to date on what's happening with Microsoft. And of course, last but not least, Frank Quiones. He is our resident public sector systems engineer who knows anything and everything public sector and IT. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And as we go through the session today, like I said, we're going to be covering some trends. We're going to introduce you to Logitech public sector, the Microsoft updates, some TAA and DoD APL updates that you don't want to miss. And then at the end, we're going to jump into the Q&A. But before we get started, I'm going to cover some key macro trends that are happening within the public sector and really across all industries. If you were to ask any CIO or even look at the latest data from NASTD, the NAS CIO priorities, you're going to hear some core focus areas that are consistent across all of them. AI, cybersecurity, modernization to support digital services. These are all top of mind and relevant. What we know is that AI is transforming how agencies work. It's transforming the way you and I as individuals work on a daily basis. And we're seeing AI being used as this great enabler to create more efficiencies and also enhancing the quality of communication and collaboration. It's actually streamlining administrative workflows. It's helping agencies write RFPs, just being more efficient in their daily tasks. But we're also seeing it used in technology. And some of the technologies that you're going to hear about today, Logitech is using AI to improve the quality of meeting experiences, the way people are seen, the way people are heard. And you're going to see that in a little bit. Cybersecurity, both Logitech and our ecosystem partners like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and Google Meet understand the importance of privacy and security standards. Our ecosystem is designed with security and manageability in mind. And we want to make sure that security is top of mind, and not only what we do with our products, but that it's manageable by the IT teams that manage our products. Moving on to modernization, it's really not all about just the infrastructure when we're looking at modernization, but it's how technology can be used to extend access to services. So whether you're trying to extend access to hearing services or telehealth services or behavioral health services throughout your communities, Logitech solutions are really helping agencies not only to provide those efficiencies, but to provide personalized communication experiences between government agencies as well as with government and their constituents. And then as we move on forth, it's climate change. Climate change is impacting every country and every business, and it's become top of mind for both state and local and federal. Logitech intends to continue to be the leader within sustainability. We are focused in on providing reductions in our carbon impact using sustainable materials in our products and in the packaging we ship. So we want to keep that top of mind for our customers. And as we round out the macro trends, trust is top of mind for public sector. Logitech brings over 40 years of experience as a trusted partner. We deliver secure, inclusive, people-first technology, and we do that across all governments and all agencies. Now, when you receive the invite to this session, you might have seen some key technology shifts that are happening that are creating a sense of urgency across state and local government agencies. And so when we talk about modernization, these key technology shifts are top of mind. So Windows 10 end of life. Microsoft is ending, I'm sure many of you have heard, Microsoft is ending support for their Windows 10 in October of 2025. And this means that the security updates and the patches are going to stop. And so that as agencies look at transitioning and moving away so that they can avoid operational risks and compliance gaps from those Windows 10 platforms. The next is the PC and laptop refresh cycle is already underway due to that operating system shift. But it also means that with the new updates, there's also this opportunity to create better experiences for your employees, as well as, like we said, those experiences when they communicate with constituents. So as they're updating those PC and those laptops, you want to be thinking about those peripherals and those accessories that can enhance the quality of those communication experiences, like an HD webcam or a native Bluetooth headset and keyboards and mice and all of those tools that can be programmed to create more efficiencies at the desktop and in the way that employees are interacting with the digital world and extending digital services. And then lastly, we've got this push for AI-ready workstations. So we're seeing a strong push for AI devices as well as these computers that support the ability to quickly access AI tools. And so as agencies are evaluating tools to support things like Microsoft Copilot and other productivity features, we want to make sure that you're exploring those tools and those peripherals that give you quick and instant access to those AI features that your staff and your users are looking for. But all of these shifts are creating new opportunities to create seamless user experiences, and it's laying the groundwork for a smarter, more efficient government workplace. So now that we've laid the groundwork fairly quickly, I want to jump on into giving you a little bit of an introduction to Logitech. For those of you who aren't aware, Logitech's been around for 40 years. And over these 40 years, we've established trust across public sector with federal, state and local, healthcare, and education customers. And we're really proud of this legacy of trust. We have over 250 design awards because we always put the user first. And so we're really proud of the designs that we bring to market. In fact, if we look down here on the legacy and the reputation that Logitech has built, 1 in 3 conference rooms that are built today use Logitech products. We have built the trust so much that we are now holding the #1 market leadership position for our video conferencing hardware solutions. And we also hold that space #1 in market share leadership for our personal workspace solutions. But one thing I want to call out that I think is really important is that Logitech does not go it alone. We want to ensure interoperability and the ability to expand our portfolio of offering through our extensive partnerships that we have with alliance partners, like our strategic partnerships with Microsoft, Zoom, and Google Meet. However, if you are an agency or an organization looking to build out classrooms or enhance the way your conference rooms are working, you can leverage Extron and AppSpace and Steelcase and Samsung. Again, these are all strategic partners of Logitech that help us to bring better solutions to our government customers. And then we talked about sustainability a little bit, but as agencies are prioritizing being environmentally responsible, we support those goals by offering the carbon neutral products, responsibly sourced packaging, and solutions that are built with sustainable materials. So we really want to be your partner in helping to accomplish or meet your sustainability mandates without compromising the performance in the products that we offer. And then we talked a little bit also about the customer experience that we've brought to market. And Logitech solutions are being used throughout government, but I thought you'd like to see that we've really made a strong impact across the public sector. What you can see here are some quotes that came from some recent GovTech webinars where you've got 3 state CIOs that have described their experiences with implementing the technology and highlighting how these tools are improving not only service delivery, but enhancing the culture and creating better experiences for their employees to be productive where and when they're operating. So all is to say, you're going to find Logitech solutions throughout state and local government, throughout federal, but when we're in K through 12, Logitech can be found in the largest school districts in the United States. You'll find us in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, and Clark County. You're going to find us in higher education in all 9 Ivy League schools, Princeton, Harvard, the Yale, and Columbia. You're going to find us, again, like I said, in all 50 states. And then you're also going to find us in some of the largest federal agencies out there. You'll find us in the White House, the cabinet agencies, and every branch of government, even those 3-letter agencies. You know, this just really highlights what's possible when Logitech and our partners in government come together to drive meaningful change, to help with the delivery of enhanced services and modernizing for public impact. And as we move through today's session, I'd like you to keep these different environments, the solutions that we're going to showcase for all people in all spaces. Logitech has a complete portfolio from individual users using mobility in the field, and to personal workspaces, office settings, to training and conference rooms, you name it. Logitech is a complete ecosystem that is supported by our powerful suite of software, as well as our flexible support options. And just to leave you with this is that you as an agency or as a partner, you never have to go it alone with Logitech. We have an entire dedicated public sector field team that works in partnership with you, that can work with you on proof of concepts, to building out different statements of work, to building out the equipment list that you need. We have an entire team here to support you. And I think the best thing that we can do right now is to give you a guided tour to see how we bring the people and the technology together to support your agency. So with that, Craig, I'd like to turn it over to you to walk us through the tour.
Can everyone see me? Good to see everyone. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. I'm Craig Ishii. As Roseanne mentioned, I lead our product marketing team for services, software, and partners. And we're here in Irvine today. Now, one of the great things about our office in Irvine is that we do bring a lot of folks around this office. I'm sorry that you can't be here with us in person today, but we're going to try our best to kind of make it feel like you're here in person. But the great part is that when we bring folks here, what I always tell them is that, yes, we're going to look at rooms, we're going to look at devices, we're going to look at desks, but everything that we're seeing, mostly everything that we're seeing, 98% of what we're seeing is also used by our employees every single day. So the desks that are behind me, our employees come, they're flexible workspaces. The conference rooms that we're going to show, our employees use those. Large rooms, small rooms, everything is used here, as well as being able to be shown on camera. So again, we're here in Irvine. What I wanted to talk through first is I wanted to show some of our desks. So we needed to make sure that we've got probably about 150 employees who are located here in the greater LA area, or kind of greater Orange County area. We want to make sure that all of those folks, whenever they come in, have a place to work and sit. But we don't want to have 150 different desks here. I think for any particular day, especially on like our busy days, we probably get about 20, 25 folks coming in. So we want to be sure to have a flexible desk system where folks can reserve beforehand and then come in and use the desks. So Jordan, what we're going to first do, Jordan is my cameraman here. We're going to first bring the camera in, and I want to show the device that kind of really makes all of that happen. So we have it provisioned to Microsoft Teams. Now, I know there are a number of government agencies, customers who are on here, but it's important to note that Zoom, Microsoft Teams, as well as a number of other service providers. In fact, Logitech also provides our own desk booking and room booking software as well, but it can be provisioned to all those different options. Now, Logitech Flex, what you're seeing here is number one, it's a dock. So all the peripherals that are at this desk are actually connected into the dock. And what that means is that when an employee brings their laptop and plugs in with the provided USB-C cable, it's going to power their laptop and it's going to give them access to all the peripherals that are at the desk. But second, it's also a display, and more importantly, it's a touchscreen display. So here, as I make reservations, and so the other cool part is Logitech Flex works with Microsoft Places. It works with Zoom's workspace reservation system. It also, again, works with Logitech Desk and Room Booking as well. But as people make bookings, they're going to be able to see their bookings here. So it really helps with wayfinding. And as they need to interact with the device, they're also going to be able to use the touchscreen to do that. Now, Jordan, let's bring the camera here and zoom in just a little bit on the back. So Logitech Flex has some security built in. So we have a screw here so that people can't take the dongles out or unplug things themselves. I have it already unscrewed, and so I want to show some of the stuff here in the back. We, of course, have standard ports. We have USB-A, we have HDMI, we have USB-C, power, etc. But some of the other cool things that I like to point out are some of the built-in cable management that we have. So you can see the cables are routed through the back. But if you look, we have additional screws here on the top. And actually, within each Logitech Flex unit, we even have an included hex wrench, which is super cool because it allows me to lock down the cables if I want, just making it a little bit more user-proof. That's one of my favorite words to use, is how can we make our devices so that our users, as they need to use them, they're not unplugging things or creating problems themselves. So Logitech Flex has a lot of features that really help to make it not only user-friendly, but user-proof as well. Okay, So we have this device. Now, Jordan, let's take a look at what's on top of the monitors here. So when it comes to our personal workspace devices, we have an entire comprehensive portfolio that we're providing, but we like to make sure that we're providing different types of devices for different types of users. So the devices that I'm showing here are from our core lineup. We call it our core lineup. So we have our Zone 305. That's our headset here. This is an on-ear headset. Has microphone that's built into the headset that can be muted. You can talk, mute, but the functionality of this headset, some of the call functionality, the mute functionality, that is actually going to be also Bluetooth certified for Microsoft Teams. So that was an announcement that we made very recently, is that if you happen to lose the dongle, all the functionality of the headset is still going to work because we have that Bluetooth certification with both Google Meet as well as Microsoft Teams. Now, right next to it, we also have our Brio 305. So this is our headset 305. This is our Brio 305. This is part of our core offering too. You can see that we've got built-in privacy cover. And this is really going to be a great option for most average or standard users to provide a really high quality web camera experience for if you're looking to provide that in your office. And then if we bring the gaze of the camera down here, we've also got our Signature Slim, which is also part of our core lineup of personal workspace devices. Now, this is a scissor key system. It's also got quiet clicks on the mouse. But one of the key ones that I want to point out, because I know that we have a number of Microsoft users here, is this particular version of Signature Slim was built with a Copilot key, meaning you just press Copilot key, start using Copilot. Now, there are other versions of Signature Slim. That's why we love this keyboard and why it works for so many different companies, is that there are a number of different versions of this, again, based on the preferences of you or your users. Okay, let's go over to the next desk here. So we're going to look at the headset and the webcams that are on this desk. This is our Zone Wireless 2. So this is an on-ear headset. It's a little bit more of a premium build. So this is part of our advanced line for different users. This is also Bluetooth certified for Microsoft Teams and Google as well. And if we look here to our camera systems, we have our Brio 505. This is not normal. So although this is the camera that's actually connected to this computer, this one I just put here for the display. But I wanted to show both of them off because, again, we want to provide different types of webcams for different types of users. Frank is going to talk about this in a little bit during his presentation, but we also have a number of devices that are TAA compliant because we know that's important, especially for folks on this call. But similar to there, we've got built-in privacy cover. Brio 505 is going to just offer a little bit of a higher definition camera feed from this webcam than the 305. But again, different types of offerings based on preferences. Now, if we take a look at what's on this desk, I have two different keyboard options. And this is also to point out that we also have different mice and keyboards for different types of users. So we do offer an Ergo keyboard as well as an Ergo mouse. This is our Lift mouse. This MX combo here looks similar, but it's a little bit of a different build. So the chassis here is built with metal. Keys are a little bit more premium. Jordan, do you want to just grab this mouse right over there? I just want to compare the two. So this is the mouse that I had shown from our Signature Slim combo, whereas this is our MX3S. And you can see the contours are a little bit different. One is meant for fits differently in your hand. This one also has a side scroll button. So again, different users have different preferences. This is part of our advanced lineup, but we want to make sure to provide different peripherals based on the user preference. Okay, so we've talked about desks here in the office. What I want to do next is I want to take a look at some of our conference rooms. But before we do that, I actually put some of our video conference bars right here on this cart, just so that you can kind of see it, a little bit of a size comparison. We have a lot of pictures of this online, but I think it's something to see it virtual and to see it live. So we have 3 different Android and or Windows-based or PC-based bars here. Now, this one is something that's really unique. We introduced this last year. This is our Meetup 2, and it was specifically designed as a BYOD device. It can be upgraded, which we'll talk about in just a second with a roommate device. But with BYOD and with Meetup 2, you can run a cable from the device. In fact, you can run a single active USB-C cable, and then a person can bring in their laptop, plug in, they take control of the display, and get camera control. So we know a lot of companies, a lot of agencies, organizations, they're preferring systems where employees can bring in their own laptops. Well, with Meetup 2, it's going to offer that directly with the camera system. Now, in addition to that, we also have a number of devices that can connect to things like our Rally Bar line, where you can also create a BYOD room as well, but also keep the Rally Bar Mini, or Rally Bar Huddle in the room. Okay, so we talked about Meetup 2. We also have a number of video bars. And like I had mentioned before, one of the big callouts, especially for for Google, Zoom, Microsoft customers is that these bars can be deployed in both Android mode as well as Windows mode. And you don't have to buy a separate device to do that. So for example, if you've got this plugged in now and it's in a PC, but you want to change it to Android, all you got to do is reset the device. You don't have to buy a separate device and rip up the room and then redo it. Again, that's all built into the bar. Now, one thing that I also want to point out, you're going to see in some of these rooms, is that Logitech's portfolio goes beyond just the bars. We have an entire comprehensive portfolio of accessories, additional cameras, peripherals. And this is just an example of one. So we have a number of customers where they have training rooms or they have rooms that are quite large or big. And so you can add additional rally cameras into that room. These are examples of some rally cameras that can be added. They can stream simultaneously. We also have scheduling panels. We have BYOD devices, like I mentioned. So one of them is called Switch. One of them is called Extend, where you can connect them into the system and still use it as an Android-based room, but still allow a user to plug in their laptop and take over the room if they want. We have two types of meeting controllers. We have accessories that allow you to mount the taps differently, to put them at angles, to attach them to tables. And so we're going to show off some of those in the rooms actually right now. So I'm going to move this cart out of the way. Jordan is going to bring the camera around to some of our rooms here. And this first room is called it's Bird's Nest. So all the rooms here, because this is also an Ultimate Ears Pro office, they're named after concert venues. So this is our Bird's Nest room. You can see there's only 2 chairs. And so here we've positioned Rally Bar Huddle. You can see that we've got the built-in privacy cover on the Rally Bar Huddle, and we've got the media controller, which is a tap IP that's sitting directly in the middle of the table for users. And so the idea of having a room system for those who are new to Logitech is that users don't have to bring their laptop if you don't want them to, right? You can set up the room as a Zoom room or a Microsoft Teams room, and they can actually start the meeting and run the meeting directly from the room. But users can also choose to bring their laptop if they want, and that's where devices like Extend and Switch come into play. So let's bring the camera out. Let's take a look at the room that's right next door. You can see this room is a little bit different. We've got 4 chairs in this room. And so you can see I've positioned a Rally Bar Huddle in this room because typically, from what I've seen, Rally Bar Huddle, it's maybe 2 to 4 people, 2 to 5 people. Rally Bar Mini, maybe 4 to 8 people. And then Rally Bar, maybe about 6 people and above. And then you can also add a number of different peripherals as well. But you can see we've got a Rally Bar Mini in this room, 4 chairs. We've got an Extend that's actually sticking right there in the middle of the table. And I've put a tap in this room. So one room had a tap IP, which is our IP-based meeting controller. And this room has tap, which is a tethered meeting controller. They both have the same functionality, but again, match different preferences based on different types of organizations or agencies. Okay, so let's bring the camera out. What we're going to do next is I'm going to actually just walk over to the other side of the office here. We're going to switch the camera feed, and we're going to show you a couple other things. So I'm going to just walk over here. We're going to switch the camera feed. I'm going to assume my next position here. And here, what we're looking at is I wanted to talk about the outside of the room before we show our last boardroom here. So on the outside of the room, of all of our rooms here, we have our Tap Scheduler positioned. Now, what I love about Tap Scheduler is that it's purpose-built specifically as a scheduling panel. So it's got features like this lighting on the right and left side, so you can see if a room is taken, if a room is free. If we also look here, this has been provisioned to Logitech Room Booking. Again, there are a number of different service providers that we can use. Logitech Room Booking being one, Microsoft Teams being one, Zoom being one, AppSpace being one, Rico Spaces being one. The list goes on and on and on. Comeen being one. There's a lot of different service providers that we can use with this. But the idea is that it's not just a display. Just like Logitech Flex, it's also a touchscreen. So you're going to be able to not just see meeting details, but you're also going to be able to interact with the screen if you want to do, say, an ad hoc booking, see what other meetings are scheduled for that day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Tap Scheduler. Now, the reason why I brought the camera to this space is that this is kind of a small office, so I get a lot of people making fun of me for this, but this was really put in for customers. And what we wanted to demo is we wanted to demo Logitech View. So what we've done here is we've connected a Logitech Roommate device to this touchscreen display. Now, what a Logitech Roommate device had originally done was it allowed for our rooms to be upgraded into room systems. So imagine that you had a meetup in that room, or say a Rally Plus system, but you wanted to make it an Android-based room. You would simply plug it into the Roommate, and the Roommate would act as the compute for that room. But what you can do with Logitech View now is you can connect the Roommate to a touchscreen display like this. You can provision it to Logitech View. And what that allows for teams to do is upload maps, place rooms around those maps, connect those maps to calendar resources. And then what that means is as an employee comes to the office, they're going to use the map to be able to help with their navigation, but they can also book directly from the touchscreen display. And the cool part about this is that this is not just specific to Logitech desk booking or room booking. If I'm on a Microsoft Teams system where I am, again, my scheduling panels are Microsoft Teams, I've got Microsoft Teams rooms, the availability and the ability to book rooms is also usable with Logitech View as well. So something pretty cool. Again, great for wayfinding and providing touchscreen displays around the office. The last room that I want to look at here is our boardroom. It's called Coachella. So here, and you can see I've got my feed to the back of my head here. Frank, who's going to be presenting here in just a second, is also in this room as well. So we're going to be talking from this room, so you're going to be able to see it live. But I wanted to point out a couple of other things. So we've got a room of 8 people, but we also have this physical whiteboard that's here in this room. Now, if we look right above it, we have a Logitech Scribe. So this is an example of the comprehensiveness of our portfolio. We have a lot of employees who like to do actual brainstorming during team meetings. What we can do is we can use Logitech Scribe. We can simply press this purple button. And what it does is it's not just going to project the screen, but it's going to have a lot of digital enhancements. It's going to increase the contrast of the colors. It's also going to do this thing called presenter transparency, where it's going to sort of make my hand or the bodies that are standing in front of the whiteboard translucent. And so what that does is it creates a really great experience for remote participants to be able to understand what's happening in the room. Okay, now you can see we've got a rally bar that's positioned in this room, but what I want to point out is what's here at the center of the table. So in this room, we have Logitech Sight, and what Logitech Sight does is it pairs with our rally bar to provide a camera view that's directly from the center of the table. And what that means is that as people are having conversations, or even as they're sitting closer to the back, we're getting extended camera coverage, number one. And most importantly for the remote participant is getting a view right from the center of the action. The remote participant is also getting audio from the center of the action as well, because we have a mic pod that's built in Sight. And so something I forgot to mention before is that mic pods are also part of our portfolio offering as well. So as you want to have extended microphone pickup, you can do that. But if you have a Sight in the room, you technically don't even need that because we've got the microphone built in. Now, last, Jordan, if we zoom in here, I just wanted to take a closer look at what our meeting controller looks like. So this is our tapped meeting controller. Again, this is one of the options where it's directly tethered into the meeting compute. There is a version that looks very, very similar to this, almost identical. That's an IP-based meeting controller. They do the same thing, but again, they're for different types of users. And like I mentioned before, I have this room connected to Logitech Extend. So I've got one box here. I've got a category cable connecting it to another box that's connecting it right into the rally bar. And what this is allowing me to do is it's giving my users the option to come in, bring their laptop, plug this in, and then run the meeting directly from their own system. So even though we're running it as a Zoom room right now, an Android-based or appliance-based Zoom room, an employee still can BYOD if they want. Okay, so there's probably going to be some questions. We will look to the Q&A to answer questions. Any comments? Happy to hear them. Right now, I'm going to pass it over to Alex Mooney. Alex is going to talk all about the remote management experience. He's going to talk about Pro Management Portal. He's going to talk about Sync. And then we're going to talk about a few other devices in our portfolio at the end. But Alex, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Craig. And we'll be back with you in just a moment. In the meantime, I would love to tell you a little bit about the management experience. The punchline here is really simple. Logitech supports all of the tools from Microsoft and takes it even further to go deeper on those tools. So the first tool you might be using is the M365 Admin Center. A lot of us have already been managing our licenses and so forth there. I'm actually going to move through these slides pretty quickly. The next one is going to talk about that M365 management. So one of the first things to do to make sure that you are ready for your Teams room deployment, your Logitech devices, would be to go ahead and get those resource accounts set up and get your licenses applied. All of this is, of course, facilitated there. The next tool that you may be using is the Teams Admin Center. This is obviously a great place to manage all of those policies related to the meetings and how the meetings are showing up for your users. And so all of these devices can be managed there as well. The next one is Microsoft Intune. So Intune is really all about compliance, network certificates, security protocols, and everything else. There's been a big question about how do we manage Android devices through Intune. The good news is that we've already completed the AOSP migration. That firmware is available, and you should be able to complete that firmware upgrade if you haven't already, to keep your Android devices managed through Intune and under compliance, and of course those Windows devices as well. All your Logitech devices are supported through Intune management. The next one is, of course, the Pro Portal. And the news here, if you haven't seen the public roadmap announcement from Microsoft, is that the Pro Portal is now coming available for GCCH customers, as it's already been available for government cloud customers and others. And so that's a really nice addition that this is now coming to GCCH. Effectively, Pro Management Portal will eventually be the central hub for managing all of those experiences. But we add Logitech Sync to that. And what this does is it takes it one step deeper. While you can manage call quality and network readiness and compliance and licenses and everything through your suite of Microsoft tools, the next slide here shows you Logitech Sync, and we go a step deeper into giving you some fine tuning of behaviors of devices. For example, how quickly should the camera automatically switch views? Or how aggressive should the noise reduction in a meeting room be? And so much more. But we take that even deeper with insights on both room and device usage, giving you some heat mapping of how to experience all of this in your workplace. So effectively, all of these tools are fully supported for all the Logitech devices. So we try to make sure that whatever tool you're using as an organization or as an agency is going to be supported with your full suite of Logitech devices, and they are. So from there, we want to take it a step further for supportability. And so we have Logitech services. Logitech services are broken down into three categories. We refer to them as basic, essential, and select. And then you may also have some additional partner services on top of that. Let's start with basic. Basic is what it sounds like. It's included with the purchase of your device. It includes things like a 2-year warranty on your Logitech devices, and it gives you the ability to use Sync to manage and monitor, to update firmwares and update rings, to monitor health reporting off those devices, and to, of course, open support tickets right within the Sync experience. And of course, we have business hour support and 1 business day SLOs. So all of that goodness packed in with the purchase, no additional fees or anything in that basic experience. The next ring is essential, and what this adds is advanced insights and analytics, the booking experience Craig talked about earlier, alerts and integrations, remote UI access. This allows you to remotely access to troubleshoot a room when it's built in that Android-based experience. Of course, if you're using Windows, you probably already have remote access tools, but in Android, this gives you that remote UI access so you can troubleshoot and interact. And then Select takes it even further. This is where we really go deep with you to provide 24/7 full room tier 2 support with 1-hour SLOs, up to 5 years of product replacement under your warranties, to extend all the warranties within the devices in that room. Advanced next day RMAs. If you have a critical space that absolutely can't even wait 24 hours for an RMA, we can even help you set up on-site spare kits. So this is a really powerful solution. And of course, it includes everything in the other offerings. So, and the last piece of that is that we've created really rich APIs in order to connect this into your partner tooling. So if you are a partner and you are supporting different organizations, or if you as an organization have a partner, they may already be connected into our API ecosystem as well. Okay, I want to move to a couple of announcements for Microsoft. So one of those is going to be that we have, I think it's on the previous one here, Roseanne, but we have already updated those Windows 10 devices that are going end of life to Windows 11. If you have a Logitech device that has been sold by Logitech, that PC should have already received a Windows 11 upgrade. If it hasn't, you may need to just check and make sure whether the automatic updates are being applied correctly. but that's the good news here. And if you are using Android, we've already announced that we're upgrading all of our CollabOS devices to Android 12, which extends your support end date to additional years beyond that. I believe it's now 2028 with the latest announcement from Microsoft, and it'll go even further for support. So that's great news. The next slide gives you an even faster pathway, even if you aren't on a Logitech device that is going end of life. We have an even lower cost solution here, but we have a ton of different solutions available for you. This is a new entry level. That's what Microsoft's calling it, entry level MTR. What this does is it takes the PC down to an i3 to make it even lower cost. And we, of course, bundle that with a tap that's a standard USB connection. So this allows you to deploy a really small room super fast and cost effectively. And in order to do it quickly, which is really important, we've worked with Microsoft on this express install category that they've put out. So you may have heard some news about this, but Logitech partnered with partners like Heckler, Steelcase, and Salamander to create solutions that come flat packed, no tools required to install it, so you can roll it into the room or set it on the table and have a complete MTR up and running in less than 20 minutes. So that's a big promise. We've got a video running here to show it. We're not going to show the whole video, but we've tested this and proven it. If you have a remote facility where you don't have on-site dedicated IT support, this becomes really powerful because you can send in a device and you can know that they can set it up quickly without a huge amount of lift. And the last thing I want to share is, of course, how do we make these devices even smarter? So AI is a tremendous talking point. And on this last slide, we are talking about Microsoft Facilitator. So the Facilitator agent is a extension of Microsoft's Copilot AI. It sits as an agent in the meeting room within Teams, and it does things like take notes for you, remind you of your agenda, keep you on track, and so forth, the side action items. This is also now available across your suite of Logitech Teams Rooms on Windows devices. It's been released by Microsoft in preview, and so you should be able to see those and start testing those in your labs if you have not already. It's a super powerful tool. You can walk in with your phone and scan the QR code to start taking meeting notes, even if you're having an ad hoc meeting. And that makes you the owner of the meeting notes and, of course, starts those AI transcriptions. Super powerful and worth checking out. All right, now, one of the great things from Microsoft is the new multi-camera experience, but I think it's better to show you. So I'm going to pass it back over to Craig to talk to you about multi-camera.
To Alex. Now, we changed the camera view. So the cool part is that Frank is going to be talking in a second. I'm going to be talking here. And you're getting the view directly from the room. So you're actually seeing the feed from Logitech's site. I had talked about how it is transformative in that you're not just getting the wide view, but I'm able to really see the action directly from the center of the table. But I'm going to talk about that in a second. Right now, I want to talk about multi-camera first. So one of the things that we just came out with was we came out with the ability to connect Rally cameras via category cable with an add-on called Rally Streamline Kit. And you're seeing it here. It's basically just two components. Component number one, you're just going to basically plug in the USB-C into the bottom of the Rally camera. It's also that piece is going to fit nicely onto the bottom, right? And so that's kind of the first step is you just sort of plug in, you connect it. I have a visual of this on the next slide. So you're seeing here, you just plug in. You can see that the next piece fits real nicely right there on the bottom. And then from there, you're going to use a screw that's provided to attach that and fasten it to the bottom. And then you're going to connect via category cable. The other end is then going to go into a control box. That control box has some cable management that's built into it. It's also going to have its own power cord. And then from there, that's where you connect the USB-C from the control box into the Rally bar or into the room system. And what this is going to do, and you can see it here in action, is it's going to enable things like this. So this is a multi-camera view in a Zoom room where I've got two streams happening at the same time. A little choppy on there. Apologize for that for the video feed. And in the next one, this is what it's going to look like in a Microsoft Teams meeting. So in the Microsoft Teams example, I've got myself presenting at the front. We're literally in this room. We've got Jordan presenting at the whiteboard, and then we've got two people who are sitting here at the back, and that's three simultaneous streams happening all at the same time. Alex,
I believe it's up to how many simultaneous cameras can we stream at the same time with this?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
so with multi-stream, we're doing 5 streams, and with multi-camera, I believe you can do 4 simultaneous cameras connected to a Teams Rooms on Windows.
4 simultaneous at the same time. So that's multiple cameras in the same room. I had kind of talked about some of the devices earlier. And the other thing that I want to talk about that we unfortunately were not able to show live because it literally just got delivered this morning is Rallyboard 65. So we had recently announced this in January. Rallyboard 65 is an all-in-one touchscreen display along with a built-in video conferencing system. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the device, but I do want to show some of the deployment options. So this is an example of an open space. My colleague Betsy and I were doing some brainstorming. We've got some high chairs. The beauty of Rallyboard 65 on a cart is that it really can match and move to different types of spaces. But if we look at the next scenario, we have an example where we're not sitting at a standing table. We're sitting at a much lower table. And what we've actually done is we flipped the camera placement from above the display to below. And so now we're able to get that level height with our head and our eyes. And that's the beauty of Rallyboard 65 is that it's not just movable on the cart, but you can also change the orientation of the camera. And then I've got 3 sides here. We can just, Roseanne, just show them rule 1, 2, 3, but we've got one here where we got a room where all the tables and chairs are on wheels. So this example, we're sitting, but we're presenting, the camera is above. The next example, we're sitting lower, we put the camera below. But then third, we move the tables away. We're doing more of a brainstorm. We flip the camera above again so we can use the whiteboard. The idea here is the board is truly modular for users to be able to modulate its usage throughout the day. And then the final one before I pass it over to Frank is Logitech Site. I guess the call out here is that we've traditionally been able to put one side in the room. You're seeing exactly what that looks like with 2 people. On the next slide, you're going to see what that looks like with 4 people. Something else that I want to point out is that if you look at my camera feed right now, and I change my orientation, and I start facing the front because maybe there's somebody on the television screen that's talking here. If you look at what just happened, the feed changed from the site feed to the Rallybar feed. That's called smart switching. And so that's the beauty of having a front and center system is that the cameras can speak to each other and change the orientation based on where the person's facing. And very soon, people love this experience, we're going to be able to offer daisy chaining for site. So I want to explain what that's going to look like. What daisy chaining is going to do is we're going to start here. So we've got 4 individuals. We've got the picture-in-picture at the bottom. We're going to first split out the picture-in-picture so that we have 4 individuals separated from the room view. And then the second site is then going to be added as a third piece here or a third tile. So we're going to get up to 8 individuals plus the room view. And it's going to look a little different on every different platform and every different setup. But generally speaking, it's going to have this, a separated room view along with 8 individuals. So really cool stuff, really exciting stuff. I think you've heard enough from me. So now I'm going to pass it over to Frank to talk a little bit about all the logistics and compliance and all the fun stuff. Frank, over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Craig. So as we go through here, I did want to touch on a couple of things that came up on the Q&A that are going to tie into this. One is as we go forward, Android 12. Android 12 was on a slide. There's been some questions about that, and that is something that we're actively testing today, and that will be released later on this summer. The second thing is you've heard a lot about category cable. I've been in this video industry for a long time, and the biggest problem that you have in the installation side of it and the operation side is proprietary cabling. One of the things that we're looking at Logitech is we really look at the user experience, but we're also looking at the people that have to care and feed for it. Do I have to wait 6 to 8 weeks of backlog to get a proprietary video cable? Or what if I just run a Cat 6 cable or a Cat 6A cable? That's why we're moving a lot of what we're doing to Category 6 and Category 6A. That way you can run your own cable and provide the connection so we can still maintain our control. So those are 2 really big call outs. The third piece is up on the screen, we just see on the slide is we talk about TAA. A lot of people, if you're not a federal government agency, you may be thinking, well, why do I care about TAA? Well, there's 2 things. One, TAA is important not just for our DoD customers, our FedCiv customers, or even some state and local governments, but federal contractors and other organizations that actually are working off of government grant money for specific programs, you may be required to do this. So TAA, we are expanding our TAA portfolio. But more important than that is a lot of people start asking questions about, well, what about this other tab up here that we talk about, NDAA? NDAA is about how it's made and what's in it. TAA is where it's made. NDAA, it's how it's made and what's in it. And there's actually a public law stating what can and can or what cannot be used within communications devices within government. NDAA. Now, we do have TAA SKUs, but across the board, everything that we sell of today that I know of, unless they stick something in the last couple of days, is NDAA 889 compliant. So that is something that we do have. Now, she just moved the bar on me here. So on this one here, what we're really talking about on this next slide is we're taking this a step further and saying, what about people that you want to go into and make it a full kit? We now have TAA bundles, TAA kits that include not only our bars, our controllers, our microphone pods, but also a TAA compute. So we do work with a partner who actually creates a TAA compute for us, and we have all that, including webcams and conference devices. Now, Rosette, can you go to the next slide, please? The last piece here that I really want to talk about here is as we start moving forward is that there's been a lot of movement in the last literally 2 to 3 weeks on something called DoDIN APL. Microsoft officially has been accepted within the Department of Defense to be placed on the Department of Defense Information Network approved products list. That just happened a few weeks ago. What that means now is that MTR will start becoming available on DoD networks. If you're on a GCC high network, that has been done for quite a while. Now it's the DoD networks. What that means to you is we're approved to get on there. At Logitech, we are part of, and for all of you DoD customers that are out there, you're going to hear a term called the MUDGE. We are on the MUDGE. So the user deployment guide, we are on that as an approved peripheral to be used with the MTR on Windows environment. What we don't have yet, and we are working very, very diligently with Microsoft and with some DoD agencies, is on creating the final piece. But please reach out to your federal account manager or to me, and we can discuss what that means and how we can get you to where we can get MTR on Windows on your environment. So any questions, please reach out and let us know. The final piece I do want to talk about is we have available to you out on the Logitech website a Logitech Room Configurator. I want to point this out as a great tool for you to start getting ideas. As a customer, I like to know what I was getting into before I went out to my account managers and SEs to get the final bow on the package, so to say. With this room configurator, you can take a look at what does your room look like and get a preliminary bill of materials. I will request that if you're going to be doing something within a DoD or anything that needs TAA, please reach out to us because the part numbers that come out here are not TAA part numbers. Some of them, all of them will be NDAA, but some of them will not be TAA. The other piece is that there may be options on different ways to deploy that will make it easier for you to install and may make it more secure. So this is a great tool. We're continuing to expand this. And as we do, please remember you a Logitech account team behind you to work with you all the way through. And with that being said, I thank you for your time, and I want to pass this back to Roseanne to wrap it up for us.
Great. Thank you so much, Craig, for the amazing demonstration. It was so helpful for Justin behind the scenes with the camera action, and Frank, great overview on the TA compliance. I just want to close here for our customers and partners. This is what we hear from our customers when we ask them why Logitech. So I'm just going to share with you, they choose Logitech because they trust us. We have this legacy, this history of trust of being in the market for 40 years. We have customers who speak up for us and tell and share how they're using our technology. We even have customers, government customers, who are willing to share their deployments with other government customers. So again, if you have a request, you want to see how someone's deployed, reach out to your account manager and we'll get you in touch with a customer. Our solutions are simple, intuitive, easy to use, interoperate with the leading platforms that our government customers use, scalable across hundreds of sites and networks, and we make it easy to manage those networks with Logitech Sync and our services in support of that. And last but not least, of course, cost-effective. Government customers need cost-effective solutions because they're using our tax dollar. And again, I'll close with that in terms of the presentation, but I'd like to open it up now for Q&A.